So Bob, the recording you're doing, Drew can get to it, correct?
Right.
Okay, perfect.
And I've been uploading all of these onto our YouTube page as well and sending those out in the e-post.
That's what I thought. So thank you. I appreciate that.
We're going to be live on Facebook in a minute anyway, so you won't have to do that this time.
Even better.
All right. Are we good?
We're good.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Washington Square West Civic Association's October board meeting. Glad to see everyone here. Thank you for attending. Drew's not here tonight in his secretarial position, so Marissa is going to be filling in as much as she can. I know she can't fill Drew's shoes, but she's going to try. She's so Marissa, we're going to start with you and the approval of the minutes from last meeting.
Okay, so do I move to approve the minutes?
No, you ask if anyone has any discussion or changes. Marissa, you've been doing these for years.
Sorry, I'm so nervous. Is there any discussion or changes to the minutes that were sent around?
I can't.
Please say no. Just hurry.
I make a motion to approve last month's minutes.
I'll second that, Secret.
Yes, I saw no problems with the minutes.
Okay, great.
You're okay, Marissa?
Good job.
Thank you. Thank you. And then I guess the only other announcement was the upcoming election for new board members. We have 7 seats that are going to be up for grabs. 4 returning board members. They're returning for re-election. And we received a few for new sorry, I have only 3 here, so and I was like switching from my phone to my computer, so I probably did miss that, but there are also an additional 4 people from the community, which is amazing, who would like to throw their hat in the ring. So that election is going to happen at our yearly meeting, which is in November. Okay.
And we are going to host that meeting live.
That's right.
First time after COVID.
Be there or be square, as they say.
Right, so stay tuned for that location.
Yes.
We're going to be on Jefferson's campus or maybe at Pennsylvania Hospital.
Right. And yeah, I think that's all from the secretary's seat. Would you like me to just roll into my report, Tammy? Oh, I see.
Can we announce the names of the candidates so that everybody in the community knows who they are in advance?
Are we doing that?
We should.
Okay. All right.
In case we missed anybody too, they can let us know.
Okay. So the 4 current board members who are up for re-election are Robert Scher, Deb Sweeney, Richard Lee, and yours truly, which this is a really great campaign campaign action here. Really showing how it's done. And then we have the 4 community members are Peter Coe, Andrew Ferrarelli, and Akshay Kamath. Probably did not say that properly. And then sorry?
Andrew Jones is the last person.
Andrew Jones is the last person. Yeah, I didn't have that here. So yes, that's the slate of candidates. 8 people, 7 spots. We're voting in a live session in November.
And just to be clear, everybody's equal. Returning board members don't get any advantage. So all 7 seats are up for all 8 people with no preference to anybody. just to,
And
What are you
is it true that we're gonna hear from the candidates this week, this month and next month, or just in November?
Just-
what we've normally done is publish the statements in the e-post, and then the candidates have a chance to speak at the November meeting
Right,
in person.
cool. So everyone will get to hear from these fine folks.
That is correct. That is correct.
And hopefully the statements in advance.
If anyone who is on right now is one of the candidates, please make sure that you have sent in your statement. If you need to know more about what you should be writing in your statement, just contact me and I will let you know. All right.
Right.
Any questions in regards to voting in November before we move on? Going once, going twice. All right, we're gone. It's gone. Poof, just like that. Okay, Marissa.
Should I just roll into
Now you're
my
into your vice president.
my
hat.
area of expertise here?
Correct, yes.
That's also debatable. I just wanted to give everybody an update on the community series, meeting series that we're having in around the proposed arena. As you may remember, we had both the 76th Place and Comcast SpectraCore at a joint meeting back in, gosh, when was that? September, August,
June. I thought it was June.
June?
Yes.
Man, wow.
Time flies.
Feels like yesterday. And then our next meeting is going to be with members of the Chinatown Advocacy Group. So we're going to hear from a couple of people who have been spearheading that initiative. And that is going to take place on October 25th. So mark your calendars, set aside about an hour. I'm managing that moderating that meeting again. So, you know, I'm going to run a tight ship, 1 hour with presentation and questions and answers. So
What hour are you shooting for?
I'm shooting for the 7 to 8 hour.
Okay, I have a work community meeting that night, so I'm hoping to be able to attend.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And it's a Zoom meeting.
It's a Zoom. Yeah.
Marissa,
7 to 8.
what's the group? Sorry, and is it just one stakeholder group that's coming?
No, it's there. Let me see here. It's like the Chinatown Development Corporation. Hang on a second. I can get the names of all the people. It is the Asian Pacific Islander Political Alliance. There is the, let's see here. That's Debbie Wee, who is the from the Development Corporation, and Mary Yee is from as a consultant. She's out of the University of Pennsylvania, but she's involved with the Asian Pacific Islander Political Association. So they're mostly from the group of people who have been kind of organizing around this effort. So a lot of names that we've heard before.
Right. We think it's really important to hear everybody's side, right? So
Mhm.
we all can, in the end, just make a great decision in regards to how Wash West feels, and we'll put out a statement after we hear from everyone. But we think it's important that we hear from everyone first. The community gets to hear from everyone. So, so stay tuned for that meeting. I also had a quick question for everybody. I wanted a show of hands.
Tammy, 1 second. I just wanted to also include that there's a representative from Power Interfaith and the Asian Americans United organization. So, you know, again, these are some of the people that have been involved with this from the very beginning with the organizing.
Right. And I was going to also ask Mark Squilla to attend as well. Just so we have him available.
Right. And then I think the plan is also to host just a community chat about this after this meeting. At least one where, as members of the community, we can get together and have a discussion, but I'm just still trying to figure out how it can be a productive discussion versus just everybody getting together and kind of saying the same thing. So stay tuned for that. That might happen in like November-ish, early December. But again, I want to try to really think about how to make that a productive discussion versus people, you know, saying the same things in different ways.
Anything else, Marissa? You good?
No, that's it. But stay tuned for, again, reminders coming out about that October 25th meeting. Thanks.
I just wanted to ask everyone who's on right now if who all got this put on their door today from the 76ers. Can I have a show of hands? Did anyone else receive it besides me on my door? That's it? Just me? Wow. Guess they only went down Locust Street.
I have heard of people on St. James receiving it before, but not today, but they have received it.
Okay.
So it's going around.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure everyone is going to get this so they can see what 76ers Place is sending out to the public right now as well.
Do you want to like describe it a little more, Tammy?
Yeah, it says on the front, why is 76ers Place the right move for Philadelphia? And it says no cost to Philadelphia taxpayers, good paying jobs, economic growth, a safe center city, world-class sports hub. And the other side says the 76ers are committed to investing more than 1.55 billion in Philadelphia to build the arena, partnering with local communities, small businesses, and labor unions, creating thousands of good paying jobs, lifting up communities of color, making Market East a safe, clean, and affordable, and building a sustainable state-of-the-art arena.
Okay.
I
So
can
it's promotion for their project, right?
That is correct. There's a QR code you can scan. It probably takes you to the website. So if no one got it, I can scan it and we can put it in the e-post so everyone can see what I got, if you'd all like. But I just received it today, just so everyone knows. All right, moving forward, Bob. Finance Department. I know you're now the lone wolf again, but hopefully we will have more partners with you soon.
That's actually my report is I don't have one and I'm not able to keep up with it, which is why I was thinking about not returning to the board. So I would really like to have a finance committee that can double up with this. Otherwise, I don't know what we're going to do because I can be treasurer, but I can't do it myself is the report. And membership committee, I think they're stepping up and we need to separate membership from finance because finance can't keep up with entering membership. At least I can't. And I know the committee is committed to working on that. So I'm not saying fault with anybody or with anything that's been done, but we really need to get a group of people working together to do both membership and finance. And it can't be just one finance person and one membership person. I know Russ is picking it up, but I wouldn't expect him to do it on his own any more than anybody else. So that's my lecture to the board if I'm reelected. My goal is to get some people involved to help Russ with what he wants to do and what I'm trying to do. But
Yeah, I
really, it's not
appreciate
working
that.
on my own.
Yeah, I certainly appreciate that. And I intend to help you as much as I can. And I should point out that Katie is also on the membership committee and has also been doing a lot. So I think she should get some credit too.
Yeah, I'm not faulting anybody. I'm just saying I'm not keeping up with it on my own, and I'm out of the office this week.
We need folks on all committees, and that is both elected board members and community members. Any community member can join any committee without the commitment of being a board member. Reach out.
But on the plus side, I will say we filed our taxes through the accountants and they're filed properly. And I have the documents, they're publicly available and I have them available to share with anybody who'd like to see them. That's our, what they call BC 10 form, which registers with the state to accept contributions. And our financial statements are all public and available and not audited by the accountants. But compiled by the accountants based on the information we give them. But that said, they obviously look for things that don't make any sense, and they're consistent with other years, and they are reviewed by myself and the committee before they're filed. So that's the positive on the update. We did get everything done on time, and October was the deadline because we have a long extension from the normal like April dates that we use for our personal returns.
And yeah, I just want to point out that Julia, who was a new board member with us, has resigned from the board because she got a new job and has moved to another state. But she is the one who helped, along with Bob and Drew and everyone else, to bring in our new software program that we're working with in regards to our finance as well as our membership. So.
And I think people have been getting email reminders from the new software for renewals and to be able to pay by credit card. Hopefully if people have any comments, they should definitely get back to myself or Russell on how it's working for them or not working for them. And we have some fine tuning to do on it. We just need to get together and actually do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Bob.
Mhm.
Russell, why we have you right here, front and center, if you want to give a report on membership.
Yeah, so I think since the last meeting, board meeting, Katie and I believe Patrick was there, met with Rob, sorry,
And I think
to discuss
Leanne joined
this.
us too.
Yeah, Leanne was there too, to discuss the sort of membership platform that we use for sort of keeping track who's a member, the payments and all of that. So I think Katie, I poked around it a little bit. I think Katie may as well. It seems reasonably straightforward. I will probably want to touch base again with Rob or Leanne or someone about sort of how we prefer to sort of sign people up who email us and sort of ask to be members. Like, you know, do we, yeah, so I may want to follow up separately about that, but I think that's part of the update. Katie and I were also thinking of, I think this is relevant, Katie, stop me if you don't think it is, sending some postcards of some sort potentially to people whose membership has lapsed, encouraging them to renew their membership. Does that sound sort of right about what we talked about, Katie?
Yeah, or we talked about, so Bob told us that there had been a hired person who was doing some bookkeeping who never did a really stellar job anyway. So we're no longer using her services. And so that has freed up about $350 a month that could potentially be used for something else, like a postcard campaign, try to reach some different people in some different ways, the people that we're not reaching through online outreach. Sometimes people like to see stuff in their mailbox. So that is something that is under discussion, but hasn't made it much further than the discussion stage.
Right. We did in our other software program, automatic letters or emails that were going out to members whose renewal was coming up. Bob, does this new software program still have that ability?
It does, and they should be going out if I have it set up right. So everybody, it should be going out about the time your renewal comes up. It's a 1-year anniversary from your last payment, and people should be getting a notice that if they'd like to renew, they can renew by credit card and do it right online, and also set up the automatic renew. Right now, we're using PayPal for auto renew, but I'm trying to transition that to the new software, which would not use PayPal, would just use a credit card. And
So if we have a renewal coming up through PayPal, we should probably cancel it so we could move to the new system. Is that your recommendation?
That would be my preference. We haven't canceled anybody who's on renewal because we don't want to cut anybody off and we haven't really gotten the word out in a good way. So if you're on auto renew for PayPal, it will continue until it's canceled. But the goal would be to eventually transition everybody to the new software when we're 100% committed to it working properly, and we know the notices are going out in a timely manner.
Okay,
If
great.
you're on PayPal, you're probably not getting a notice. It's just
Happening.
happening behind the scenes, and that may be a surprise to some people. And if by chance anybody gets double billed, just let me know, and we can very quickly issue a refund for the second payment. It's not the intent to charge anybody twice, but it could conceivably happen if people aren't aware that they had PayPal set up, and a lot of people do forget that.
Thank you, Bob.
Okay, great. All right, thank you. And just to remind all board members are on Russell's committee of membership. Every board member is supposed to be on that committee. So Russell, when you have your next meeting, you gotta make sure everybody is on your email out so they know when the next meeting is. But we have discussed this multiple times that every board member is supposed to be on the membership committee. So,
And Russell, they're the first Mondays of the month, is that right?
So the last one was right, last Monday, the 2nd. So that would be, yeah, and it looks like the next one is on November 6th, Monday,
Yeah,
November 6th.
so they're the
Monday.
first Monday of the month, everyone.
And community members are invited as well. It's on the calendar.
yes, it is. And they're all done by Zoom. So anyone can attend from anywhere. All right, let's move on. Deb's got her planning going for cleanup day for us.
Yes, I do. We are rolling along. So, Streets Department has been notified. We have Todd Kelly, who will be helping out again, as he has in the past. We have the printing moving along. The Bicycle Coalition has been notified, as well as a request for shredding. In addition, I just want to mention, going back to the bicycles and the bicycle lanes, we did add some additional signage last year, which was well received, and that will continue. It was posted at each intersection on the plastic posts that I guess I did it about 3 days ahead of time so that cyclists would be forewarned about that change. Banners will be hung, and I think that's it for now, but we're moving along. So if
Give the date.
December 2nd,
Thank
9
you.
to 2. And if you haven't been notified yet, I will be notifying you. Pretty much the same people I'm asking you to do the same thing again this year. In addition, in the past, we had board members help with distributing the flyers. So I'll be asking you to do that again. Hopefully you'll be able to help with that. If not, let me know and we'll make some other arrangements. And then the other thing that we ask board members to do following the event is, as you're walking the neighborhood, to remove the no parking signs that are on the road. But I think that's it. We're well underway.
Yep. Yes, we are. Does anyone have any questions about that? And if you want to help and volunteer, just send Deb a message, or you can send it to info@WashWest, and we can get it over to Deb in regards to helping her putting things together and all of this. It's a huge undertaking. So the more help from everyone, the better. And I'm talking not just to board members, but to community peeps as well. So we can put together a list of all the things that we need help with, and we can post that on the website as well as on social and with our e-post. How do you feel about that, Deb?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely.
Okay,
Yep.
just so people know what we need help with.
Right. Primarily, I would say that it could be distributing flyers. And the other thing would be to come down to Seeger Park the morning of and help out physically in the community with the clean out, helping neighbors who maybe need some assistance or streets that you see have not been done. So that's really the primary piece of that.
So are we still gonna have the bags and rakes and
Yeah, all that's the same, yes.
gloves, all of it?
I don't know if we had gloves last year.
We
For some
did.
reason, I think we did not. But we will post the items that we are able to get, and so that everybody's aware of it. Hopefully we'll have much better weather this year. Last year was a really, really huge washout. It was very challenging.
Yep.
So hopefully we're due for some nice weather.
Okay, great.
And
Thank-
and Deb, did you say there would be shredding?
We do have a call in for shredding, and hopefully that will happen. I don't,
Okay.
I'm expecting it will happen, so.
I'll just say that we don't get much, so tell your friends, tell your neighbors to pile it up and bring it over, because they've showed me the back of it. It's like, oh, you guys didn't have much at all, so let's utilize them if we can.
I'm hoping that the weather.
There was some talk about
Yes.
shredding, whether that's something we could do instead this year. I think maybe
I think that would be good.
something to think
I put
about.
it into the chat. I am in touch with Senator Saval's office and have CC'd Deb on that email and requested both the
Yes.
shredding truck and the e-waste disposal help.
We
So
want Ken Waxman to be involved in that as well, Casey?
I don't know. Do we, Marissa?
You should reach out to his office.
Yeah, maybe I'll get in touch with his district director and find out.
Yes.
That's
But
a great
When
idea.
when I talked to the representative at the summer nights, he expressed an interest in it, but he didn't have much information on it at that night. So
Yeah.
the subject's been brought up. We just need to follow up with them.
I've dropped hints too, so I think if we can get an official email to me, Casey,
Oh,
and then I can
yeah.
share.
No problem.
All right.
Thank you, everybody. And the other thing I do want to say is I think that in the past years, up until last year, we had a lot of people participate in the shredding. And I think that some of the reason it was a little bit lighter last year is really due to the weather. So hopefully that will still be a popular activity.
Okay,
Debbie,
great.
just a comment on the electronic recycling, which I think is a fantastic idea. Just be wary of it because I've seen it before where you can get overwhelmed and we need to, if we are going to do it, we need to understand what kind of facilities they are going to be providing us. Because those, on occasion, what happens is companies will get the word of it and you might get someone dropping off like 20 computers or something like that. So, so just be wary of it. It's a pretty expensive endeavor to do otherwise. So people can
Jonathan,
jump
would
on
one way to address that maybe just be like, I don't know, limit X items per person or something like that we could put in the advertising if in fact we get sponsorship, because
I think it would make sense, Casey, or just say, this is for household, not for businesses, but just be wary of it. I've seen folks get overwhelmed by it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, great. Let's move on to Katie with events. Do we have any events coming up, Katie?
We don't. We talked briefly about doing Halloween. It was a big success last year. It was a lot of work. But this year we don't have a plan to do anything special for Halloween, but Halloween in Wash West is already special. Just get out there, trick or treat with the kids, decorate your house, whatever. One thing we could share is that we did officially receive grant money from city council for an activities fund. And when we applied for this grant money, our intention was to put it towards a program, a newly developed program for street and storefront beautification to help try to address some of our empty storefronts, make them more attractive, and hopefully by doing so, help deter things like litter, loitering, graffiti, and things like that. We really haven't, I haven't done anything about it, and I don't think, and I haven't talked to anybody else about it either. So it's something I guess I need to jumpstart. If there's anybody on this meeting who is interested in joining up with this effort, we did have a couple of community folks who were already interested. I know we have already sort of generated a general list of spaces that we feel like need some attention. And part of what we were going to use the money for was two different things. One is like a vinyl window display, something that is informative, a wrap, something that is informative and attractive. It goes on the insides of windows, so it can't be torn down or, written upon in some window spaces. And then we may try to do in different kinds of spaces, highlighting local artists. We'd like to be able to pay artists a little bit of money to borrow their artwork to be displayed in appropriate window spaces. So this whole program is developing and forthcoming. I don't necessarily foresee it going into effect before the end of the year, but especially because we haven't really started, but I think early next year. Does that sound reasonable?
But we have, I'm gonna say that we did do a lot of work on this project. We actually met with Center City District, who actually has the artwork that we can use if we want to. We also were going to be purchasing the vinyl graphics through Center City District at a discount rate as well. The only thing we have not done, Katie, is contacted the owners of the buildings that have empty storefronts to get their approval to do it.
Right, and that's probably
in place.
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest things to get done is get a hold of these people. So if you live next to or work next to or know of a vacant space and you actually know how to get in touch with the owners, hit us up. We want to know so we can beautify these spaces.
Right. Well, we can start with Jefferson because they do have a few storefronts that are vacant, that they own those buildings. And so that will be our first, in my opinion, easiest and low hanging fruit to start with.
Indeed.
So, all right. Any questions for Katie before we move on?
Yeah, and no other, it's the closer you get to the end of the year, the busier I think everyone becomes. There's just so many social events and family things and holidays. But still have in mind possibility of a winter time event, like a winter solstice is kind of the date I'm thinking of, celebration of seasons. So I don't know, stay tuned.
Thanks, Katie. Richard Lee, are you there?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Tammy.
Safety and security, what's going on?
Safety and security, the good news is I think the parade and the event were well attended. We didn't have any reported incidents from that, and I believe it was a great success. And there was good weather, so that was good. There was a follow-up PSA meeting with Officer Joe Ferrero on Sunday at Old St. Joseph's Church, where he met the community, and there were at least 6 officers who were on the beat to sort of meet people and provide more information about keeping their homes safe and utilizing cameras and making sure that they call 911 appropriate as well as 311. Tonight's meeting was canceled because the captain of the district, Captain Brian Hartzell, passed away unexpectedly. We had met him in January when he became sort of the lead for the district, and he was very welcoming, and we had our group as well as Society Hill there. But yeah, we heard the news today that they canceled the PSA meeting at Pennsylvania Hospital because he passed away unexpectedly.
Yes. And Richard, if you ever have information about the police getting together with community, please make sure you let Leanne and Katie know so that they can post it for everyone. So other people can attend if it's for the community.
Yes, that's a very good suggestion. I'll make sure to keep that up to date. I heard about it that Sunday, so it was also a last minute event for me.
Okay. All right. Thank you. And anyone can join Richard's committee as well. So you just need to reach out to Richard, and he is there to welcome you onto his committee.
Yes, I have Lynn and I have Candace, and welcoming more members. So thank you, Tammy.
Yeah. Jonathan, what do you have for zoning?
Okay, we actually have a voting item today. Let me read the zoning notice and then we'll put images of it. It's a pretty easy one. This is for 1101 to 1153 Chestnut Street. This is the Jefferson Pavilion that is being built and is almost completed. The zoning is for identification signage being refused because the bottom edge of the building identification sign must be at least 150 feet high, whereas the proposed height of the bottom edge of the sign is 87'7", and that is prohibited. A comment: the 87'7" is incorrect on the zoning notice. It is actually 37'7". The zoning attorney stated as much, and our letter to the ZBA will clarify that. I'm going to share my screen for a moment just so I can show my screen. So I apologize, I did not get the actual submission, but this, did everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the west side of the building. So the signage is about this large. It is facing the courtyard. In 3D view, it's roughly here. There was some very simple commentary from the neighborhood and just some questions about the font and the color, but the zoning committee is recommending non-opposition with no provisos. Any comments or questions?
So that's the first signage? I thought they already had signage on the building.
There's tons of other signage, but all the other signage is of right and doesn't need to go through the ZBA or be presented to us. This specific sign was not of right, so they needed a variance for it.
Got it. Okay.
So if you're approaching the building on the south or west sides, up at the upper corners, you'll see these stanchions popping out. So those stanchions are for the primary building signage. Those are much higher.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
And they said it was reviewed, Jonathan, was it the Art Commission?
Correct. Yeah, it's already gone to Art Commission as well and was approved by the Art Commission. Thank you, Bob.
Any other questions in regards to this signage on the building? No. Right, Jonathan.
So the zoning committee is making a recommendation of non-opposition.
All in favor of non-opposition? Hands, everyone's hands. Okay. Everyone has, Richard Lee, you got a hand?
Yes. My hand is up.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Confirming hand up.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. A few other items to talk about. So we have two projects that will be coming up this month. Oh, actually, I should take back. I've gotten notices for two projects. One will be hearing this month. The other one I've not been contacted by the applicant. The first one is 1206 Walnut Street. This is an existing restaurant that is seeking a take out restaurant use, and that requires a special exception, which means the use is allowed, but they need to present to the neighborhood in order to complete the permitting. And of more interest is 708 Sansom Street, otherwise known as the Jewelers Row site. So this is the former Toll Brothers site. Toll Brothers has sold the property to Pearl Properties, who is looking to do a development there. They will also be looking to do a high rise. They invited the zoning committee to kind of quickly look at the project, just have a preliminary view of it. Myself, Katie Lowe, Bob Scher, and Richard Beck did view it. They just viewed it. We have no comment on what we reviewed as to whether or not we are in favor of it or not in favor of it, other than to say it's a very large building. And architecturally, I think we agreed that it was better, but I'll make no comment on the zoning of what they're requesting. What they are requesting, so they are seeking 3 variances. One is for parking. They're proposing above ground accessory parking. So there'll be an above ground parking garage. The second one is the maximum floor to area ratio. The maximum floor to area ratio is permitted at 1,200, where they are proposing 1,493%. So they're in excess of 293% of the floor to area ratio. And the other one is the drive aisle width for the parking garage is 18 feet, where the proposed valet spaces impede the drive aisles to 0 feet, which basically means the garage is not public. So sometimes they'll probably double park cars in a manner where the car is blocking the drive aisle. So they need zoning variances for that. This project will also be coming to us for civic design review. So they'll be presenting to us twice. They are going to present to us in October. That will be for the zoning issues. And then they are going to present to us in November for the civic design review issues. If in October, we as a board have issues with the zoning, we will then request them to postpone the civic design review, because I don't want to comment on, wouldn't want to comment on design if we have a general issue with the zoning in general. Should also be noted that this project will be a joint review with Society Hill. So we are the main RCO, so we will be leading the discussion, but they will also be participating. We try to have similar comments between our 2 RCOs, but sometimes that is not possible. So we'll see how that goes as well. One other item, as you know, we are seeking for Washington Square West to become a historic district. We learned something about historic properties and zoning a few months earlier. It's a little bit technical, but just so everyone understands it. So if a property is historic, either through individual designation or through community or through a neighborhood designation, which is what we were doing, any property that was originally a commercial use, more than 2,500 square feet, so not a row home, and so we say large factory buildings, any building of that sort would be allowed uses that are a CMX3 zoning. Why that's important is because that includes visitor accommodations, which allows Airbnbs. So that would mean that buildings like, I'm trying to think, the building where the pizzeria is, Waverly Court, what?
Where a me used to be.
Correct.
Waverly Court.
Waverly Court, thank you. And that building was originally
it's called now.
Yeah, correct. So that building was originally a furniture factory. So that would meet the criteria of this zoning, this zoning allowance for historic uses, which means that they could become an Airbnb of right with no public review, with no review by the community. And the community has obviously shown a general concern for Airbnbs. We discussed this with Councilman Squilla, and he is going to propose what is known as a zoning overlay for our neighborhood, that for this specific instance, and again, it's historic structures, more than 2,500 square feet, that were originally a non-residential use, that this special exception of being allowed the visitor accommodation would no longer be a permitted use in Wash West. So it's something, and it's a pretty big concern to us because there's the Baptist Publishers building, which I believe is at 13th and Pine. That building is more than 200 units. It's I think it's 13th and Pine. It's an orange brick building. I can't remember the exact location. But, by our estimations, there's, between 500 and 700 existing apartments that could become Airbnbs of right. We don't know what's happening with the arena, but if the arena were to go through, our neighborhood would be a perfectly great location for a whole slew of Airbnbs. So Councilman Sklola is going to work with us to create this overlay. There will be at some point a public meeting, presumably in the zoning committee, to discuss the overlay, and people will be able to voice objections or being in favor of it. I just wanted to let the community know that this is something that we are working on.
Yeah, I think one of the other buildings we identified was on Waverly Street, the former Waverly at Camac, the former dairy building between 12th and Camac.
And as a side note, the reason that this exception exists is because it's actually, a lot of times historic buildings are very difficult to develop. And so this allows an otherwise difficult building to develop some additional uses. So for example, the church, the St. Claver's Church, that would also be allowed to become an Airbnb, but that may or may not be as a bigger concern for community, because right now it's a church that's falling apart, where I think we would rather see it become a commercial use, like an apartment or something like that. So that's why this exception exists in the zoning code. And again, we'll have a further discussion regarding this. But I just want to let people know that this is something that Councilman Sklola is working for us on our behalf.
Correct.
And as a side note, the zoning committee did discuss this at length, and before we initiated this with the councilman.
Any questions in regards to any of that for Jonathan? I can also give a brief little update on where we are with the historic district designation. The paperwork was all submitted a month ago, but the historical commission said some of the paperwork was not completed correctly. So we have people working on trying to correct what the historical commission is looking for in regards to, and it's more of the images than anything, just so everyone knows, because we had to photograph every building in Wash West, and somehow there was miscommunication with the software program that the historical commission uses versus the software program that our consultant used to put it all together, and it did not merge correctly. So they're trying to work out how to get it merged so that all the paperwork is submitted in correctly. So everything's in, but there's some glitches that the Preservation Alliance is working on for us to get it all put in correctly. That's where we are. So it's done. It's just merging some files to make it fit with the software program that the historical commission uses, which is some very antiquated software. So stay tuned, but I've been told everything is still going to go through by the end of the year is what they're telling me still. So.
And Tammy, I'd like to add, we received an additional $1,000 contribution from the Washington Square, the group that did the first nomination, 10, 15 years ago. They had a little bit of money left in their, well, not a little bit, $1,000 left in their treasury, which they've turned over to the Civic for the specific purpose of doing anything that needs to be done to complete that nomination that's in process. So that was designated funds just for what you're talking about.
Correct.
And Timmy, just one follow-up on my part. The Bible Publication Society is at Lombard and Juniper. That's the building I was thinking of.
Oh, okay. Okay. Anyone else? Casey, did you have anything you wanted to report on before we move forward? I know we need to order more doggy bags.
Oh, that's still on the list. Good.
It's on the list, and Bob, we just have to give it over to Bob so he can pay for
We
them.
need budgetary approval. I don't have anything. I'm working with Deb a little bit on the cleanup day and in touch with our government reps on the shredding truck and notified the Bike Coalition. We do have our tree planting day coming up on November 18th. That's a Saturday, November 18th. It'll be, I think, at 10 o'clock. We'll meet in Con Park. We have plenty of volunteers, but if folks are interested, please come out and plant trees with us. Unfortunately, we didn't get all of the trees that we had applications for approved. So we're planting a good deal less than I had hoped, honestly. But still we'll be able to have, I think it's 4 or 5 trees that we'll be planting on the 18th. And then some will be delayed until next spring. And in the meantime, if you can encourage folks to apply for street trees where there are pits, that was in the e-post I think that Leanne sent out. There's always a really easy link that you can share an application where you can share with friends or even yourself if you're interested in applying for a street tree. So key date is the 18th of November, and spreading the word about more applications.
Who has to approve it?
The city arborist, the City of Philadelphia Parks and Rec Department, Katie has a city arborist that comes out and inspects the sites that have applied, and will make a determination if it's allowable, basically. And then they'll also choose the species based on the homeowner request and what the appropriate species would be for that site, given sidewalk width, overhead lines, things like that.
But I will also add, Casey, that you don't actually have to have an open tree pit in front of you. So
That's
those are just kind of like bonus areas, opportunities. But the program cuts the tree pit, pays for all of that. All you have to do is commit to watering. So definitely every e-post, I put something in about signing up for trees. So please sign up.
Thank you. One last thing, I saw Patrick put a note in the chat, Casey, that what about using people's IDs when they come up to drop off the electronics to make sure they're from the neighborhood? So I thought that was a good idea as well.
Should we also say a little something about Patrick?
Patrick, who's here right now, right there.
Yeah. So that Patrick has resigned his seat short of his full term, and just that, so that people know when they don't see his friendly face or hear his French accent, it's not because he doesn't love us, it's because he's going to California.
He's moving to California. Darn you, Patrick.
Now you're putting me on the spot. Yeah, I'm very sad. Yeah, we are very sad. We are a 2-body problem, but anyway, so we'll miss you for 2.5 years.
2.5 years, okay.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep you to that, Patrick, in 2.5 years, about you being back here. So
Yeah. Send us some pictures of you surfing.
Yeah, but what I want to say is, I mean, it was such an amazing, my term was very short, but working with I mean, all of you, and you're so dedicated, and I wish that the work that you do, that we were doing, is better known to the neighborhood. And it's so, I mean, it's incredibly important. And yeah, I mean, I think you were just a source of, influence for me, and I'm going to cherish that.
thank you, Patrick. We will absolutely miss you for sure. All right, anything from the community before, we're right on time, hour, fantastic. Anything from the community before we close out? Nothing, nobody?
Motion to adjourn.
I
Jeff,
do see a hand raising, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
hi,
Go ahead.
go
Hi.
ahead.
So Iris
and Jeff here. I'm a former board member many years ago, for many years. I'm asking now about our neighbors' plans, which are consistent, let me back up. We have a neighbor who has consistently changed the structure of his house without getting a permit, without letting anybody know. And then there's a wall in the back that cut my son, and a hot tub and an extension that's practically in our master bedroom. Anyway, he now wants to make significant changes to the front of his house. And he did tell me, and I said to him, this time you have to get a permit. How do I know if he gets one, if there's an application pending? How do I know if it will get in front of Wash West so that I will have a chance to get, we will have a chance to get flyered and respond, which is how it used to work. And when I know I can read the newsletter to find out when it's on the docket, but I'm more concerned that I'm not going to know what's going on as much as
I can answer all the questions generally, and then after this, I'll give you my email, and you can email me specifically, and I can look it up.
Sure.
So not knowing what he's doing, if what he is doing is allowed by zoning, we will not see it. So he can then attain a zoning permit and then attain a building permit and build whatever he is proposing to the city. If what he is doing is not compliant with the zoning code, either in terms of height or size or density or use, then he will need to seek a variance, and then he would then present to the neighborhood. If he is getting permits, either zoning or building permits, he has to present them. He isn't publicly; they have to be in the public right of way. And there's a website where you can look up permits. And if you send me your request to zoning@washwestcivic.org, and just let me know the address you want me to look up, and I'll gladly see if there's any permits associated with that address, and also whether or not the other variable would be whether or not the project is historic. If the property is historic, then all building permits need to be, then all work needs to be permitted, and all of that work would need to be reviewed by the Historic Commission.
Jonathan, is that Atlas Philadelphia you're referring to?
Correct.
I'll put it up here for people.
That's very helpful, Jonathan. So zoning@washwest.org, is that what you said?
Zoning@washwestcivic.org. I can type that in too.
Word civic.
Someone let me get my.
What?
He's
No,
typing
sorry,
in chat.
Yeah.
Iris, do you have your chat up?
That's a good question. Do it.
Yeah, no, but we'll put it up. Yeah.
So that you'll see.
Yeah.
Zoning at Wash West Civic.
Excellent. Thank you.
.org.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the website Jonathan referred to is posted right above there, atlasphila.gov. And you can look it up with the address.
You can
And
type
once you type in the address there at the bottom, that'll say like property search. And so you can click on that specifically. So Atlas is kind of like the big thing. And then property search gets you in there, and you'll be able to see all the permits for each individual property that way.
Great. And Jonathan, I may also take you up on your offer and email you at Wash West, but I'll do these other things first. And it's interesting that you mentioned historic, because we have our house was built in 1985, but he has an old house.
It's not historic.
You don't think it's historic? Well, I
Should
don't.
we let them about the gate?
Okay, why don't you? do that?
Yeah, there's another issue also. We're at 336 South Quince, so on the 300 block of Quince. Directly opposite our house is the parking lot that backs up against an apartment building that is owned, do you remember the name of it?
Owned by the Singers.
The
Stephen
Singer,
Singer's
the
son
Sing,
now.
yeah, the Singer Rental Corporation, Realty Corporation. In any event, they recently put blacktop on their parking lot, which had been just rubble and stones for a while, which everybody's in favor of. But what they have done is they have erected 10-foot high posts at the entrance to this parking lot, presumably to put a 10-foot high gate there, which apparently is not acceptable by code. Now, apparently, Al and I did put a hold on it.
Well,
But-
we
Can you?
galvanized the neighbor,
Yeah.
our local, our immediate neighbors. And I contacted Squilla and somebody else. And so they did pursue that, and the permit was denied. I have no idea what's happened since then. Nothing has happened in terms of the gate. Our neighbors are all on board and upset about it. Never mind that we can't get our car out of our garage if that gate goes up. And it's the plans were rather industrial for a small street, residential, cute street. So we don't know where things stand now. We don't know if they were,
So we don't know how to find out what the status is once.
So we're aware of this site as well, and I know the councilman's offices. We are monitoring that address. So the polls in and of themselves aren't necessarily legal or illegal because they're just polls. But if they were to start to erect a gate, it certainly would be illegal. There's nothing in Atlas so far showing that they are applying for that gate. That gate would not be allowed of right, so they would need to come in front of the neighborhood if they sought a gate that was higher than 6 feet. So all we are doing, we are monitoring it, as is the councilman's office. If you have my email. If at some point the construction of that changes, let us know right away, and we can reach out to the councilman's office.
Because quite honestly, the neighborhood wouldn't have an objection if it were a 3-foot high gate. Like, for example, I forget it, on 12th Street, there's a really nice parking lot with a very nice wrought iron gate. We don't expect them to do it as fancy as that, but at least it would be the same height as the wall and would really be unobtrusive, and there really wouldn't be an objection to that. But a very high gate with an industrial gate obviously is objectionable.
They are legally allowed to build a gate up to 6 feet. However, if that gate is specifically being used for parking, they also need to create a landscape buffer. So the point is, they can't really just build, and they shouldn't be building an industrial gate. So again, we'll keep an eye on it, and just let us know if you see something occurring further than the 2 posts that are currently there.
Great, thank you very much.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Anyone else before we adjourn? No. Okay, fantastic. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Please remember, November's meeting is a voting meeting, and it will be in person. So for the first time, we'll actually get to see the real you right in front of us. So please come out to vote. Please come out to vote, and stay tuned for the location. The time is always going to be at 7. It's always the second Tuesday of the month, but we're just trying to finalize the location. All right.
And all of that will be reflected on our civic calendar, which is on our website.
Correct. And it will be in the e-post, and it'll go out on social as well. So stay tuned. All right, everyone. I want to adjourn. So somebody please motion for adjournment.
I'll motion.
Second. All right, we're adjourned. Thank you. Everybody have a great October. Have a great Halloween.
Go Phillies.
Yeah, for real. Go Phillies.
Thank you all. Thank you, Tammy.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.